Bear with me a minute. Okay, testing 1, 2. Okay, it's muted. Let me come back over here. All right, let's jump on it right away. Does anybody have, or would you like to start off with the homework assignment? I don't think I did 4. I did not write them down, so forgive me. I thought I did, but I'm looking and I don't have them. Would someone like to give me the words that we were talking about last week?
Mr. Lewis, the words was due diligence, discernment, accountability, faithfulness.
Due diligence. One more time, slower.
Due diligence, discernment, faithfulness, and accountability.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I appreciate you for taking good notes. I tried my best to do it. But again, it is what it is, and I appreciate you for that. All right, so let's not waste any time. Who'd like to go first?
Mr. Lewis, can I go first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Discernment. First and foremost, discernment is a gift from God. It is not something a person can study in school or research how to use online. Oftentimes, people mistake discernment for making good decisions. So let's compare the two. For example, imagine you're choosing between two friends' advice. One says to cheat on a test to get a good grade, and the other says to study harder. Now, learning the art of making good decisions helps you realize the second option is the honest and better choice. Now let's look at an example of discernment. I have an opportunity to play for the Golden State Warriors, my dream basketball team. But I also have the opportunity to play for the New York Knicks for $5 million more. But if, and only if, I have the gift of discernment, I will be able to make the right decision and go where I'm supposed to be. Those examples could be applied to anything like friendship, banking, finding a church, business investments. You get my drift. Now, due diligence. Due diligence is the careful investigation or effort someone takes to gather information before making a decision, most likely in businesses or legal matters. But it can be used in every area of in our lives. For example, if I'm in the market to purchase a bike, do I want the BMX bike or do I want the bike from Ride One Up? I'll take the time to research both bikes, doing a side by side comparison. Now, let's say I'm in the market to purchase a new car. Do I want a Mercedes Benz or do I want a BMW? Which one is easier on gas? Which one carries more horsepower? What is the safety features on both cars? That is an example of due diligence. And again, this could be applied to anything you're doing in life. Accountability. Accountability means taking responsibility for your actions, decisions, and their outcomes. Whether they are good or bad, it involves being honest and owning up to your mistakes, as well as following through on commitments. If a student promises their teacher they will complete their homework but forgets to do it, being accountable means admitting they forgot and working to fix the mistake by finishing it as soon as possible. Now, faithfulness. Faithfulness means being loyal, steadfast, and trusting, even in difficult times. When it comes to God, it means trusting his promise, staying committed to him, and living according to his word no matter what. No matter what challenges arise. Sorry, apologies. Uh for example, a person shows faithfulness to God by continuing to pray and trust Him, even when they're facing hard times, like losing a job or feeling uncertain about the future. They believe that God has a plan and will take care of them. That'll be all for me.
Thank you, sir. Excellent job.
Mr. Lewis, can I go next?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Discernment means the ability to understand or judge something clearly and wisely. It's like being able to tell the difference between right and wrong or what's important and what's not. People with discernment think carefully before making decisions. It's a skill that helps you make good choices in life. Due diligence is being careful and thorough when checking something out or making a decision. It means taking the time to research and think about what you're doing so you don't miss anything important. For example, you use due diligence when buying something expensive or planning something big. It helps avoid mistakes or problems later. Accountability means taking responsibility for your actions and decisions. It's about being honest when things go wrong and working to make them right. When you're accountable, people can trust you to do what you say you will. It also means being dependable and owning up to your role in a situation. Faithfulness means being loyal and trustworthy to someone or something. It's about staying committed and not giving up, even when things get tough. Faithful people keep their own word and stick by those they care about. It shows in how you treat others and how dependable you are. And that's it.
Excellent. Great job. Thank you so much.
Mr. Lewis, could I go?
Yes, ma'am.
Discernment is the ability to judge and perceive things that aren't straightforward and that aren't noticeable to most people. It's the God-given gift that everyone is born with, along with intuition and other natural reflexes and being able to decipher what's right from wrong. However, spiritual discernment is the ability to distinguish between good and evil spirits. This level of discernment is acquired by studying the Word of God and reflection. Accountability. To be accountable could be interpreted in a plethora of ways. It could mean to own up to a mistake that was made. It could also mean to show up for yourself and stick to the promises you made for your future and overall being true to your word. Faithfulness is the ability and quality of being loyal and steadfast to a person or a decision despite how difficult the circumstances are. This can mean to stay true to a standard by having the courage to stand your ground when it comes to what you believe in, staying true to a promise you made, whether that's to yourself or to another person. Due diligence is looking at the specifics, attractions, and properly vetting when it comes to doing something or going somewhere. In business terms, this can be used by fully reading a contract you sign, whether it's for an item you're purchasing or signing up for a class. You always want to be sure of what you're getting yourself into, big or small. It's imperative to gain the knowledge needed before entering any type of legally binding contract. And that's it for me.
Perfect. Especially appreciate the due diligence because that is key. If you're ever forced to sign something, before you get the opportunity to read it, stand up and leave. So thank you for that one.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lewis, can I go next?
Please.
Okay. Accountability is the ability to, or the action of owning up to the truth that is responsibility, and the lack of it makes one a non-trustworthy person. Businesses or companies must take accountability if something goes wrong on their property or in terms of agreement with a prospect or a client. If this company doesn't take accountability, then people will no longer trust it and find one they can. Faithfulness is blind. It's a loyalty to someone or something or a higher power, no matter what. Faithfulness is the believing that this person will come through or this thing will happen and still have the same amount of loyalty, love, and trust towards it, even if it doesn't work out how you want. Discernment is the ability to uncover what is not known or seen. You use discernment not to judge, but to have an understanding, and use it as a spiritual guidance to see if this person can be trusted or invest in this thing. It's not judging, because I think judging is harsh. It's more seeing a person's character and feeling if it's good, mediocre, or bad. Due diligence is just researching something for yourself to find out if the information is correct instead of just taking somebody's word for it. And that's it.
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent job, all of you. Keith Ann?
All right. For accountability, I have it's the obligation or the willingness to take on responsibility for your actions, decisions, and to be answerable to them, like to take responsibility.
Okay.
Faithfulness is it's the quality of being reliable and to have a strong sense of commitment to a principle. Faithfulness has a lot of religious context, but it's also very important. It's an important virtue to have in general. It's proving commitment or allegiance to something. Then discernment is the ability to make differences and distinguish like what's right and wrong and what's harmful versus what's beneficial. And then due diligence is basically research or investigation of all factors before making a decision. It's deep consideration before you take action, whether it's social, legal, emotional. It's always just looking at all factors or trying to have different perspectives before jumping to conclusions.
Perfect. Awesome job. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else before I move on? Anybody else that may have popped in later? Okay. So excellent job on all of these. And I just want to give you my homework. And my homework is basically due diligence, and my mindset goes even a step further. Anytime you do a research on something or someone, start the first due diligence on yourself. And that due diligence or self due diligence is, are you ready for what you're about to find out? And what are you going to do with the information when you do find out? So a lot of times discernment comes into play right with that, because due diligence is investigation, like all of you said. but you have to do the self-investigation and make sure you're present, you're ready for the decisions that you're about to make. You have all the information coming to you and how you are going to interact with it. Faithfulness is part of both of those. Again, you will see how things tie together as you get older, that a lot of these words that you're going over now will be like, second nature. You'll speak on them all the time because you have an understanding of them, and you'll start applying them today, not later on. You'll actually start applying them because of what you're going to be pushed into, not pushed, but made available to you, which is a promise delivered in Team Royal for some of you. Accountability is exactly what all of you said. You are accountable for your actions, your requests, your promises. All of those things are on your shoulders. So to keep the other three, the accountability is actually the equals of the three prior to it. Due diligence, discernment, and faithfulness equals accountability. All four of those qualities are basic understandings, and what most people would understand them as being morals. And that's something that a lot of people don't have these days. And my job is to make sure those who are willing to listen get a piece of this information so that they can move forward with morals and have a moral compass. So thank you all for doing the assignment, because it's important that you grow with this. Your vocabulary is everything. It really makes you who you are. So try to extend your vocabulary as much as possible. And the way to do that is to read the dictionary. That's something I was asked to do as a young person. Not all of the definitions, that comes later. The first part is going through the actual word. And if you notice, right behind it is how you say the word properly. So enunciation and being able to articulate is important. Most people don't understand that part, or they kind of glanced over it and they went to the dictionary for information. Didn't look at the word, how it's spelled, and then the next thing. These are still definitions of that word, how it's spoken. So, it kind of breaks it down that way. And even if you go online, if you go to, what's the one? It'll come to me in a minute. If you jump on there, you can actually click on it and it'll say the word for you. So try to, over any kind of break from school, like summertime, long breaks. I guess you got winter break, which can be a couple of weeks. That's really not a whole lot, but during your time, when you're free and you don't have anything to do outside of, games or hanging out, open up that dictionary and start going through all the words. It's more than enough to do in there. That's kind of what I was given as a youngster to do over the summer break. I had to read the dictionary. I had to do homework. My mother was no joke. She, no matter what, I had to continue. Please mute. There's lines open. Please mute. I had to do my work no matter what. So that's kind of what we're doing here. I want to make sure everybody is doing the work. It's important for your adulthood, so that when you get into a situation or you move forward in finances, that you stand strong. Okay, so you want to be able to talk and be able to speak on things clearly. Nothing should be vague. It always should be upfront, just like your pay. Discuss your income, any outside thing that may come into play. Okay, I don't understand why I'm hearing people. When you come to the call, mute your line, please. So basically, that is part of how you move into society as a well-rounded adult. You start as a well-rounded youngster. I'm struggling on a word to put there that doesn't feel like I'm degrading you. It takes a while to get 18, 19. I know how it is. You don't like to be called a kid and child and all that, but anybody that's not old as me, you're a kid, okay, or a child, whatever. We'll figure out a word. You guys let me know what you appreciate. Young adults for some, but when you can't just say young adults because I have all ages here. So you guys let me know what you want to be called, so I can stop struggling with that every time we get to it. It's been bugging me. So that's kind of where we are now. Going forward today, I want to talk about something a little off of finances.
Can I get a roll of paper towel? I'll get it.
Ma'am, talking about the paper towel, please mute. If there's anyone else on the call that has not muted, please do so. I don't have controls today. Mute, please do so. I don't have. If this continues, I'm only going to let the young adults on this call because they don't have a problem following directions. The adults do. And this right here is a prime example of being accountable. Most meetings that you will go to as you get older, when you go to a meeting, the first thing you're going to do is mute your phone, silence the phone so that the presenter is not disturbed. Like right now, we're having an issue with grown people not following directions.
One is, I'm not sure what's going on here. When it got done.
Hold on.
I saw.
Pamela, mute your phone, please. If we're going to continue to interrupt the children's call, it will only be them next call. This is the last warning. All right. So again, most, if not all, of your next interactions through your life is going to be based on what you do. Again, you can be a participant or you can be a result of a non-participant in life. And that centers around these 4 words. I just want to dig off into this just a little bit before we move on. Your idea of having a proper paycheck will come in how you do the due diligence on the company before you even fill out an application. So if you do the proper due diligence on a particular company that you want to work for, like MJ was saying, you have an option with one You have a better option with the other, but where do you go? And how do you figure out which way to go? If you do the due diligence on both and weigh the differences between them, it'll come to you right away where you're supposed to go. When it comes to you, don't second guess it. A lot of us as adults second guessed when it came to us the first time, and we wind up doing a job that was minimal. Okay, it was not satisfying. You had to work it and be there. It was not something that helped you grow. You have to look at all these aspects when you look at employment or a future. Now, one of the biggest things that A Promise Delivered and Team Royal is going to do for you is to give you the opportunity to do the real due diligence. The three of you, Keith Ann, Jaden, and Kayla, are, on their way out into the world. Two of them already are, one's not. But having an income before you get out there gives you the opportunity to do some real good due diligence. What do you want to do with your life? How much are you going to study on that? Do you know exactly which direction you plan to go? Now, there's the old way where you pick a direction, or you're getting, feedback from everybody around you. You had some ideas when you were in the 12th grade, what you were going to do with your life and all this good stuff. You have grandparents, you're going to do better than your mama, that kind of thing. Then you have some parents, I don't care what you do, just get out of the house. You're going to hear it all. Everything is not perfect in every household, and I know that. But what are these two platforms that you're learning about going to do for you? Number one, it's going to put the income in your life. Okay, that's number one. It's going to put two different kinds of income in your life. One, crypto, digital, well, actually three: crypto, digital, and cash, while it still lasts. So you want to have a good understanding of how to hold, keep, and use those three things. If you already have them before you go out into the world, then it makes it easier for you to do a clean due diligence on which direction you're going. So my idea for this whole thing is to make sure everybody, not just you guys, but some adults, are still trying to decide which direction they're going to go. And a lot of times it helps to have a financial foundation. And that's really what this is about. It started with the evolution of money. Now you're at the foundation. How do you use it? So now I want to go into the call. I just wanted to touch on those things. So the call today is about how you use these finances and what your financial foundation is. Right now, most of you have saved money from school, grandparents, and birthday gifts that, the cards come with the money in it. If you saved it, great. If you didn't, it's okay. That's part of knowledge. So before this call was put together, you had the old knowledge, unless your parents instill into you that you have to save some money. You can spend some, but you have to save some too. That way you have some for what? The rainy day. This rainy day is something else. It'll last for the rest of your life. You'll always hear about this rainy day. Well, I like to think I'm putting up buckets for this rainy day. These buckets there's three of them. These buckets are what you will feel and allow the rainy day to feel for you. So a lot of times people talk about a rainy day, which is you hold on to a whole lot or as much as you can for a situation in the future. I would rather do that in reverse. Let the future hold up for me when I get there. And that is a cold storage device. That is a wallet. Okay. Those things are going to help you put things in different directions and places with the click of a button. Now, your financial foundation and these buckets are the simple three things. Cryptocurrency. We already know for a fact that XRP was signed by the Orange Man. I'm keeping names off of here so we stay good. He signed it into a position to where it will be able to make payments across borders. So that means if you happen to own XRP, and you will, like I said, I want to make sure I have everything in place. I'm looking to do a substantial piece for all of you. That's why you don't have it yet, but it's okay. Everything's going to work out with that. That positioning is a bucket for the future. Instead of you trying to save something now for a rainy day, let's call the rainy day knowledge of a device or a particular thing that is going to be looked at in a big way. So XRP, we already know it's a cryptocurrency. It has been signed by the incoming president to be known as a payment source. So that's a giveaway. Now, most people saw the signal. A lot of people didn't because of who it was and what have you. Why is he signing about cryptocurrency? They're not even looking at the big picture. You have to look at the big picture. Why would he sign a cryptocurrency, a executive order on it, before he even gets in? You already know it's going to take place the second he is inaugurated. All right. Now, let's look at the sign. Having knowledge gives you the ability to be a due diligent person. So we know he signed it. So that means we need to get it. We need to put it in one of these buckets, namely your cold storage. You want to put it up. And like I said, we're all going to go that route very shortly. As soon as things take place, all of you will have a stake in XRP, along with a few others. So we are going to, as a family, I like to call all of you my family, we are going to step into staking and understanding what that means. That's the next piece coming. I got to get some more information on it. There's a lot of information. You can start looking now. Staking, STAKING, right? EING. One of those. You'll see it when you get on YouTube. Just put in staking XRP, and then they'll go through all of the steps. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to watch the videos for the rest of today after doing some calls on how to stake, what's the proper way to do it, and you have to have a clear understanding on it. Okay, and that's what I'm getting right now. So you can almost bet that there's going to be a homework assignment next week on staking. Not yet. I'm gonna give it next week. I got something else for this week for next week. Also, the understanding of your devices. I know most of you have them, maybe one or two of them, but I need to know that you understand all four items, especially those that you're going to be using the most: the cell phone and the wallet. I believe the wallet is really going. You're going to be a pro at the wallet, because the wallet is really how things come out of the resources. So the resources, the promise delivered, and everything's going to be coming out of there to it when you move it. And other things, a promise delivered itself is going to be doing pieces to all of you to make sure that you continue to put up currencies, cryptocurrencies. All right. So your understanding of your items is vital. So whichever one that kind of throws you for a loop on how to use it, I need you to study it or find out how to use it. And that's on YouTube. And then I'm going to do my best to explain the two that I have. I'm waiting on one more. And as soon as I have it, I'll just do the three that I have. And that's my ledger. I have to get that replaced. After the devices and understanding how to use them, the next thing that I could probably say is going to be the most important thing in your understanding going forward is how other people will react when everything changes. Now, you can either be a beacon in the light for them to help them understand how to navigate, or you can sit back and watch. One word of advice I would give you on that part, as far as helping people, be careful how much you let them know, because if they know that you know way more than them, they know you will have access to funds. Okay, so there's two parts to that. So you have to be careful and do due diligence on whoever it is you plan to help understand cryptocurrency, because it is definitely going to be part of our life in the future, very near future. As a matter of fact, after January 20, that's going to be front and center. So I need all of you. Like I said, if there's something you don't understand about the four items, when we go into Q&A today, please ask questions. And then, of course, I'm always going to direct you to YouTube to do your own due diligence on it. But I would like to be the first part of that understanding. If there's something about any one of those four things that you don't get, ask. All right. Let me see. What time is it? Almost. I got 7 minutes. I'm trying not to keep you guys on here too long. I would like to keep the call at 1 hour. We still got a solid 15 minutes, but we haven't done Q&A yet. The last thing that I want to touch on is, where do we go after launch? Now, that's a big one because, like I said, there's a lot going on, and launch is basically another week and 3 days, if that. A week and 3 days. I was right on. From today, you got a week and 3 days, and you guys will be in the system. Now, of course, you won't be able to do anything until after all of the first group is in. But the three of you, when I say the three, I'm talking about the three oldest. Your back office will open after we put all the 75 and you and every, right when we go to green, your back office will open. Now, here's what I want you to pay attention to. By the time you get there, you're going to have a back office pretty much loaded up, and I want you to not flip out. Okay? Take it easy and make sure that you go through the Team Royal entry, and that's getting your two positions. Hopefully, you have your LLC. You'll need one. You won't need a bunch of them. You just need one each, because the first position, or if you have a jump start, your third position will be an LLC, and your second and third will be LLCs if you have a jump start. Some of you have it, some of you don't. So I think 2 have it, 1 don't. But either way, when you go through that system and light up those extra positions, now, Pete, this is where I need you to really pay attention. each position, you already know where I'm going with this. And you can do a smaller one. Doesn't have to be a giant folder like this, but it can be a smaller folder, but make sure it's thick. And what I want you to do is for each position that you have with Team Royal, I need you to do a folder on it, because what's going to happen is as we go into the launch, your position is going to change. It's going to start to get old. You're going to see when you go from 1 star to 2 star. You're going to get all emails on this too, but I want you to get into a habit of keeping your own notes. One, anytime you write something, and this is a nugget I'm going to drop for you. There's a thing called a timeline, and you'll get into that a little later. Some of you know about them now, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of education. There's a thing called timeline, and it works with the energy of the planet, which is known as Gaia, and the universe. Now, each of us have a specific energy, and there is something specific about the written word. When you write something out, there's two things that happen. One, you etch it into time. Okay, you can, when you write something down, it is never forgotten because you etch it with your hand. Your energy creates it. You are creating letters, numbers, whatever. It happens on the paper. Then it also happens around you in your energy field. I'll teach you guys about that stuff later. The second thing that happens is when you write something out, you remember it. If you notice, if you write your name, you know your name. If you write an address out, it'll come back to you faster than if you put it in a text or somebody says it to you. I could say an address to you. You'll kind of remember bits and pieces depending on how strong your memory is. But if you write it, you etch it into time and you'll be able to recall it much easier. Okay? That's just a side bit so that you understand that part. The reason why I'm asking you to get the folder is so that you can keep track of what you are doing with that actual position. Because each position is actually going to do a different thing in your life. One's going to take care of your bills. One's going to take care of the things you're trying to do. And the last one could be taking care of your wants and needs. Okay. Or all three can be doing the same thing, depending on how you set them up. But in order to keep track of that, you need to keep, or at least have a journal, a notebook on that position. All right. Once you get it all set up, pretty much our process is going to make sure you are a success. And some of you are part of that process. So again, having all the information, due diligence, having all of the discernment, knowing how these positions are going to benefit you before you even become an adult, having the faithfulness to keep it written. All right. And then the accountability of staying on top of all of that. Like I said, all those three words are part of accountability. So it's a four-word syllable, if you want to call it that. All four things mean one thing: you being successful. All right. You are the one that you have to be accountable to. It can't be mom. Even though mom, is showing you, or dad is showing you how to be accountable and on point and being a respectable young man or a beautiful queen, it's still up to you to apply all these things and make sure that you're putting it forward. Even in the lack of, if you don't have the dad or if you don't have the mom, whoever is in front of you is instilling things in you. And that's my position on this call, is to give you an outlet and someone to reach out to. Okay. And that's going forward as long as I'm here. So I just want you guys to know that's a Christmas gift for the rest of your life or the rest of mine, whichever. All right. That will cover everything that I have. So the homework assignment for this week is look up your devices. All four. Number two, pick up the dictionary. Number three, ask questions. And four, um, accounting.
Mr. Lewis, can you repeat the last one?
Accounting.
Accounting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mr. Lewis, can you repeat the first one?
The first one is look up all four of your devices. So you're going to look up, there's going to be a lot of homework. So you're going to look up cell phone. You're going to look up wallet. You're going to look up crypto debit card. And then you're going to look up cold storage. Now, the reason why I'm asking you to look them up is this. Everybody's cell phone is different. So I have the Z Fold. It does different things than someone that has an AO26. If you have an iPhone, it's going to do things differently than my Z Fold. So I need you to know your cell phone and its capabilities. So you know some of it, you know a lot of them, but I need you to know how to navigate from your regular stuff into wallets. Can you get to your cold storage? Do you have it on your phone? Do you have the apps on your phone? That type of thing. You're going to look up wallets. Whichever wallet you have, do you have all the information readily available? The receive address mostly. Not typed, not written, but copy and paste. But you need to know how to get to it. So look up your wallet, whatever one you have. The crypto debit card is pretty much the same thing. If you have one, you need to know how to send crypto to. Hold on, somebody's at the door. Hold on. There it is. All right, my apologies. So the cold storage, I think I was on. Look that up. Make sure that you can get to the address, receive address. Everything's going to be the receive address. And it should be a copy and paste only, ever. When you're dealing with any of these things digital, copy and paste only for the address, whether sending or receiving. All right. Pick up the dictionary is basically a request for you to, I don't know, 1 page, 2 pages, just go through start at A and work your way through. All right. That's really not homework. It's a request from me to you to extend your vocabulary. It's a practice that you want to do until you get to the end. The next one is really not homework. It is a request from me to you that when we complete a call that you ask questions. A lot of times we get off the call and I may only answer one or two questions. Doesn't have to be about the class, whatever. If there's something on your head when we have a discussion that you want to ask a question about, ask. Okay, even if it's, you know, planting rose bushes, whatever it is, ask questions. The more you start to talk, the more you interact, the better you will be when it comes time for you to sit in front of a camera or in front of an audience, whatever. Okay, interaction is important for your growth. Okay, and then of course the last one is accounting. That's, I don't want to give the definition, but the actual person that does that job. I need you to look that up and you'll see why next week. All right. So we should be, yep, we're at it. Question. This is where you get to ask some questions.
Mr. Lewis, may I do my assignment?
Yes. Who am I speaking with?
Yakira Calloway.
All right. One more time.
Yakira Calloway.
Yakira. Do you have my phone number?
No, sir.
Would you like to take my number down, please?
Yes, I can.
443
443
282
282
8706.
8706.
I need you to text me your email address, and there's a form you need to fill out.
Okay, I will.
All right, go right ahead. With your assignment.
Okay. Diligence is a steady, earnest, and energetic effort devoted and painstaking work and application to accomplish an undertaking task. The accountant demonstrated great diligence in reviewing the company's financial records, meticulously checking every detail to ensure accuracy. Discernment is the ability to make a smart judgment about something, a wise way of judging between things, or a particularly perceptive way of seeing things. If you're voting for a student council president, you need to use discernment to pick the best candidate. Accountability. The quality or state of being accountable, especially an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account to one's actions. An accountable person answers for their actions and the results achieved. It requires the person to avoid an explanation for why and how success or failure occurred. Faithfulness. Unfailingly remaining loyal to someone or something and putting that loyalty in consistent practice regardless of extenuating circumstances. A wedding ring is a symbol of an unending love and faithfulness for another person.
Perfect. Just do me one favor. Slow down.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Excellent job. I do appreciate you for speaking up. And I think this is the first time I've spoken to you.
No, sir. We've spoken in a couple of last classes briefly.
Okay, briefly. That's why.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Thank you for doing your assignment. I appreciate you. So now it's time for Q&A. Since you have the mic at the moment, any questions?
I do not have any. I understand fully.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Any questions?
Mr. Lewis, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you know the reason as to why people refer to it as a rainy day instead of just a better one?
Yes, I do. I'm glad you asked that question. A rainy day is usually a derogatory or a negative thing to me. But a rainy day is like, that's a day that you have a lot of things that may go wrong, or it could be a negative situation will pop up out of nowhere. And a lot of times rain kind of pops up if you're not paying attention to the sky. You just kind of will step out the door and it's raining. So a rainy day is kind of a mindset that something bad is coming or something bad may happen in that day. Because a lot of people look at rain as a negative thing, which I don't, because it is the lifeblood of Gaia. That's how everything cycles. So it's old thing that has been carried over for millennia. People have been saying, save up for a rainy day. That rainy day just kind of means something negative or something that's going to take away from your current financial status.
I see.
That makes sense?
It does. I was taught, well, I've never heard my mom refer to saving money for a rainy day. She said that she used to hear her parents sing and she never understood it, so she just never used it. Instead, we were taught to just save money for a better day instead of,
Right.
making it sound like it's such a negative thing. Because like you said, rain isn't a bad thing at all, but I guess it's the way that it's used that it's been used as like a negative connotation instead of for positivity, like saving money for example, like if my if I'm driving and I have like a flat tire, it may seem negative, but it's actually a good thing because I have the money that I saved for the better day to get new tires. So that's my perspective.
Say how you create your future. And that's what we're doing with the Promise Delivered. That's what we're doing with Team Royal. This process or these platforms are the buckets for those days. And they will be filled prior to the rain, basically. So at the time the rain comes, you just pick a bucket that you want to use to take care of whatever situation may arise. But again, if you're doing proper due diligence on your car, you're going to actually take accountability. See how these words connect? Accountability by checking the tires. And you can look up on YouTube, how do you check tires? And get as much knowledge as you can on everything. So I don't want everyone to think this is all about money. I am a worldly person, and I like to think of myself as being well-rounded because I study a lot of different things, not just one or two. And I think for you guys at this age, if you start doing that practice, by the time you get to my age, you will be a wisdom for somebody younger than you. And that's kind of what we're looking at. You are my buckets. Okay. All of you are my buckets. So I'm pouring into your bucket so that you can pour into somebody else's bucket later. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Hello, Mr. Lewis. This is Stacy. I'm still waiting for my son to come out. I didn't think that, he's working part-time. My daughter is at home, but I have the phone with me. But I have your work, and what my son said about those words, just like you, he said all these words are connected with one another, and he actually um, thought of whatever he would like to paraphrase in regards to NFT, and then looking up a definition to see if it was correct. So I'm going to read his paraphrasing of each of the words and what he thought of what the correct or his way of he thought of the paraphrasing. So accountability for him was relied on, faithfulness is to be committed to your act, discernment to have an unbiased judgment for this decision, due diligence. Okay, now this I think he kind of tried to put it in his way, and then he looked it up, and then he just kind of paraphrased at the same time. So taking the right steps to verify, satisfy the needs or the requirement of buying or selling something or in a legal situation, verification to accommodate legalized process. And then proficient is when you're efficient at what you do. Sorry about the background noise. I'm still waiting for him for his shift to end.
No problem.
And you said something about forms. I would have to check and see in an email. I guess when I get home, I don't see anything on my phone at the moment. But I got to check on some forms. You said that they will get in your email.
Yeah, they first have to text me their email address, and then I'll send them the form.
I texted you because I did get them signed up. I think it was Monday evening on the APD site in regards to putting them on the email list for each of them, for one for APD and one for Senior.
Yeah,
So
that's different.
they
That's a different form. It's a different form.
Okay, so I'll text you another, or can I use those same emails?
They can use those same emails.
Okay, I will text it to you when I get home. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions? All right. So let's do this. All right. So you got your 4 items for next week. I got them written down too. And again, thank you for bringing it back to me so I knew what we were talking about. It's important. It's a lot on my head right now. So bear with me. It's going to get a lot better here in just a minute because, as I said for everyone else, when you have a financial foundation that is working in the background, you don't have to waste your personal time at employment. My thoughts. Money should work for you, not you work for it. But again, to get the experience going forward as an adult, you still have to go get a job, or just a bite, remember? Get one so that you get the experience. After you have made it through all of your schooling that you choose to do, don't ever not stop learning. That's what happened to 85% of the adults, me included. As soon as I got that diploma, I was done with school. Probably the worst decision I could have ever made, but I learned it after and started going back on my own time. Like I said, reading the dictionary, just start reading more to get more enlightenment. And really, that is on you. That's you doing due diligence on yourself going forward. All right. So I hope everyone enjoyed the class today. If you would open up and we can say good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, team.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the knowledge, Mr. Lewis. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Your infinite wisdom.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis.
All right. We'll see you.
Question, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
Quick
Good
question.
afternoon, Montabo. Have a great rest of the afternoon, everyone.
Absolutely.
Yes,
care.
Montabo. The form you're talking about, is that for how you get the underage children in?
Yes.
By sending an email?
Right.
Okay, I think that's what I kind of got. Okay.
Yep.
Ready. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you. You too.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Vibrations and happy holidays, everyone.
Same.